and I got to turn my mic on, right? You know, this is what happens. I missed the day yesterday. I had an appointment I couldn't get out of. Of course, that was the one day gold was down. That's probably what you're going to get, a day here, a day there. Take advantage of it. Hasn't lasted very long. Gold's up 10 already this morning. We'll keep our eyes on it. We got so many things to talk about today. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website is allamericangold.com. That's allamericangold.com. Yesterday, we had hotter inflation, but, you know, not hot enough, right? They don't care, right? They're not raising rates. They're going to eventually be forced to cut rates. We had a horrible, matter of fact, the ugliest 10-year auction this year that really kind of jumped the bond rates now, the 10-year note hovering close now to 4.20. So think about, it's getting close to going to 4% as another big tail in these auctions. And we keep talking about it, right? We keep talking about the amount of debt that needs to be rolled over on top of the amount of debt our government keeps spending. And Jason, February, the debt numbers are in way more than expected. The second highest ever. There's only, right now, we are just trending. The only year worse is 2021, right, when all the COVID money came out. And guess what? The problem is, it's not that much worse, right? We're getting ready to surpass those numbers. If you can believe it, in the month of February alone, just under $300 billion added to the national debt. You got to remember, now I know. There was a whole extra day in February, right? We had 29 days this year instead of 28. But Jason, if you did that every month, that'd be $3.6 trillion. That would be an all-time new record. Obviously, like April, we won't do it, but it is really getting ridiculous, the amount of money that we're spending that we don't have. And again, all of this pointing to the reason why all of these countries are saying, we want gold. All of these countries are saying, let's do deals in something other than dollars. And we're just seeing the world openly question holding this many dollars, maybe for the first time since Bretton Woods.
Yeah, I said last year that the debt going up $4 trillion in 2024. I said that's a possibility, not because of what is it, $1 trillion every 100 days, right, Joe? That doesn't quite get to $4 trillion, but this is something that's speeding up. So you got to allow that. There's probably going to be more of this because I don't see them slowing. So we got an election this year. There's a whole lot of smoke screens for them to do whatever it is they're doing for the spending side. And I don't think anyone who's running for president wants to slow down the spending. So I don't see anything but spending to the moon if they're allowed to, Joe.
Yeah, so get this. We collected $271 billion in February. That's mostly going to be like your FICA, your payroll tax. Spent $567 billion. And again, spending's about 50% higher than it was where we were in 2020. So essentially, here's what happened. They spend we got all this COVID, we got to spend. And just like any good drug addict, right, Jason? Well, now that I'm used to doing this much drugs, I want to keep doing that amount of drugs. Well, that's what our government's done. They just keep spending.
So we spent an entire small country in February. The entire value of an entire small country we spent in February. That's tremendously irresponsible.
Yeah, and to give you an idea, up 13% from where it was. at the same time last year. So, obviously, Jason, the deficit numbers are a problem. And now we're seeing it play out in the Treasury markets, right? And of course, why is there so much inflation? Why is the Fed having so much trouble? This is a huge part of it, right? Well, the Fed's like, hey, we're trying to contract the money supply, and at the same time, the government's going, we're spending like crazy. It really is. It's a recipe that everyone can see. Everyone can see it. Yes, it's a slow moving, but the train is starting to pick up speed when we start looking at Joe Biden's proposal for a budget for next year. They want to spend $7.3 trillion, right? In spending, we only collect about $4 trillion in taxes, but don't worry. He wants to raise the taxes on the rich, and somehow that's going to fix it. I'll just tell you what's going to happen. You raise the taxes on the rich, they go to tax shelters, they find the loopholes, and you know what usually ends up happening? The government spends, another $300-400 billion, and then the revenue, which is, revenue's supposed to go up $400 billion, it usually doesn't, right? Not usually, it never does. Right, and all we're left with is even more debt, and now the rest of the world, man, the lowest foreign demand for a 10-year note just happened yesterday. But don't worry, that's not a problem. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. You don't need to get yourself protected. Everything's okay. We'll be back. 800-951-0592. A quick look in at the Dow. Right now it's mixed. The Dow is up 140. The S&P's down 5. The NASDAQ is down 78. The 10-year note 418. Crude oil rallying here right back up near $80. By the way, we're going to talk gasoline. Not good news. Get ready for higher pump prices. Gold's up 10.5, 21.77. So just about $10 off from where it was on Tuesday. So already taken back most of the losses from yesterday. Hotter inflation number. The silver up 42 cents. Really good day for silver. $21. In 60 cents. And Jason, we've dubbed this year the year of chaos, right? And there's going to be so many things. I mean, just look at what we just talked about. How are we spending double what we're taking in, right? Double what we're taking in. As the government adding $300 billion to the deficit in 29 days. And on top of that, record rollovers, right? We got to roll over almost $9 trillion of the 30 some odd we already had. Foreigners not showing up at auctions. The reverse repo is about empty. The bank bailout facility is closed. I mean, what could possibly go wrong here? Right? The Magnificent Seven down to the Magnificent Six. By the way, Wells Fargo just downgraded Tesla, said their stock could fall 30% from here. So all of you Tesla people, you may want to hedge that a little bit because it's not looking so good for the electronic vehicle sales, at least as it stands right now. But diversify. If you still need to build wealth, right, check out our friends at Y Refi. Up to 10.25% fixed rates of return. You got all the options to you. You can compound it daily, right? Just grow your money daily, right? You can use it as income, right? You can say, hey, you know what? I want to take that 10.25% in interest I'm earning and use it as income, right? And supplement my income. You can turn it on. You can turn it off. There's no fees. There's no attack on principal. It's something you can invest in and feel good about. Yeah, that's another great thing. It really is. You got to have a minimum of $50,000. As you know, it's not correlated to Wall Street. I think that's going to be very important for what comes after the year of chaos. Check them out, investyrefy.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or just call them at 888-Y-REFI-24. Now, we've got some more mixed messages today. Dollar Tree, right? The dollar store getting hammered today as they had a huge miss in revenue. Dollar Tree announced that they're going to close somewhere between 600 and 1,000 stores. They're closing 600 Family Dollar stores. Additionally, 370 Family Dollar and 30 Dollar Tree. So let's add all that together. Jason, they're closing 1,000 stores because of the fact that, well, guess what? Hey, the revenue isn't there. So even at the low end now, we're starting to see signs of trouble. Tyson Foods closing its pork processing plant in Perry, Iowa, laying off 1,200 workers. I guess, I don't know. I don't know what that means. Does that mean pork prices get more expensive? Do they get less expensive? I'm not really sure. But I know this: 1,200 people are out of a job. In China, dumping U.S. wheat shipments at an all-time record pace. This is not good for farmers. Maybe good for wheat prices. Wheat prices continuing to fall here as China now almost monthly continues to cancel wheat purchases from the United States. And this is a big problem. This is something, maybe it was 6 months ago. Maybe it was a year ago. Hey, we agree. We're going to buy, in this case, 264,000 metric tons of U.S. soft red winter wheat for the third day in a row. China has canceled the shipment that totals now, just in the last 3 days, over 500 metric tons of wheat being canceled. Why are they canceling it? Because they bought it from Brazil and Russia instead, and they didn't have to use dollars, Jason.
Yeah, that was the only thing I was going to say was, it's not like people stopped eating in China, so where are they getting it? So
right, yeah. They still got the wheat, just not from us.
Yeah, so that's another indication, right, Joe? De-dollarization. It's if you're not going to buy it from America, then you can just cut the dollar out on top of just cutting out the wheat purchases. So, but I'll say this: if the dollar really starts to crater in a major way, China will be buying a lot more wheat and anything else they can get their hands on before they can't buy anything from this country. So that could turn around if the dollar really starts to fall. But other currencies are falling too. That's the one thing. All these currencies are falling, and there's a lot of inflation across the world. So China's taken steps to make themselves a better position, and obviously the wheat must be a better deal in Brazil, Joe.
Yeah, and then on last and not least, so, kind of a mix, right? You're like, okay, well, what does that mean for inflation, right? Wheat prices are falling. Well, that's kind of good. The reason why they're falling, that's not good. And if you're a farmer that's a wheat farmer, it's really not good. And then gas, get ready. Another drawdown in gasoline, a huge drawdown, over 5 million barrels. There's a risk that the premium gasoline prices are going to reach multi-year highs this year. So, again, I really think we have a bigger problem in 2025. But, Jason, you can't drop 5 million barrels of gasoline week after week after week and not expect prices to start rising. And again, when we look at inflation, I don't think inflation is going to get anywhere near the 2% target. And I don't think it's going to matter, because I think they're going to just tell us, well, guess what? You're just going to have to live with it.
Yeah, we've been in the 3s or the 4s. It's getting close to a year now. So I think we found the new norm, right? The new normal is year over year CPI in the 3s, and then some of the other indications being in the 3s or even in the 4s. So, and all these numbers have been halved. They calculate them differently. They probably should be double that. So we're looking at 6 to 8% inflation as normal, when it used to be 2% slash 4 to 5%. That was the gold standard by the Fed.
Right.
Well, now we're looking 6 to 8 instead of 2 to 5. That's a huge difference.
And I think this is why you're seeing gold doing what it's doing. And last but not least, did you hear about Southwest Airlines? I don't know if you've been paying attention, but I want to say we're up to 5 or 6 separate instances with Boeing airplanes just in the last 2 weeks, from engines catching on fire, from tires falling off, to pilots losing control of their flight. The latest now, gas was leaking out of the plane, right? That can't be good, right? Gas and pouring out of a plane. Southwest announced the other day that due to, I guess, lack of, how do we say it? Control at Boeing plants. Production is being slowed to the point where Boeing had told Southwest Airlines that they are not going to be able to deliver the 79 planes it promised. It's only going to be able to deliver 46 planes. Southwest says that they have suspended all hiring. They're going to reduce their schedule. Their stock got hammered because of it. Because, Jason, they're like, well, you know what? We're not going to have the amount of planes and the capacity we thought we were going to have heading into the fall of 2024. And I guess we're just going to have to stop hiring people. This includes pilots, flight attendants, pretty much across the board. Pretty damning news. And at what point does the world lose confidence in Boeing to be able to produce planes that like we said, what is it, that door blew off, and now it just seems like every 2 or 3 days they're having another problem with these new airplanes.
Yeah, I think there's 8 incidents, up to 10 incidents, and 4 to 5 of them are all United Airlines. There's only one thing, especially if it's United Airlines, we'll say, and it's Boeing. Someone's distracted. You don't go from being the best aircraft designer and manufacturer to having all these problems unless something's changed. I think people are distracted. I think people at United Airlines are distracted. I think the quality of pilots is going down. I was looking at a video on this show the other day. Boeing being a huge military contractor, maybe they're not manufacturing and paying attention to planes so much as they are drones. Our military has more drone operators than we have pilots. And so I'm wondering if Boeing's got their attention on something else, if the big money maker, which is always the military, has got them pushing full on into one area of manufacturing, and suddenly a lack of pilots. These pilots in the military, what do they do when they get out of the military? They go fly for the airlines, right? There's a lack of pilots, and then of course all the other jobs, and the COVID did a number on the airlines too. So be careful with Boeing, right, Joe? And then Boeing's, where else do you go? Who else builds them, right?
That's the thing, right? Airbus is taking a large share of that. China's just started in that area. United now is announcing the exact same thing. We're pausing pilot hiring and other hiring due to delays in Boeing aircraft deliveries. And Jason, I think you're right. I think it's, and that's the good spin, which is, well, we're focused on drones. They've been focused on DEI, LBGQ, right? All of this other political nonsense, and they've taken their eye off the ball, and it's hard to get it back right? Especially now when every 2-3 days, right, somebody else is saying, oh my gosh, we had to make another emergency landing because another Boeing plane, something happened.
Yeah, we're just past 2 years of the Ukraine war, and every time you do turn something on, you hear that Ukraine had a successful drone strike against the Russians and this and that. I mean, I'm thinking they're too busy looking at two wars and building a lot of aircraft and especially drones for what's going on in Europe, in Asia, and the Middle East. So, and then of course, then you got United Airlines. What is their problem? Because obviously, a lot of stuff's happening to their planes. Is this a maintenance issue? And why aren't they maintaining these planes? How do you blame Boeing if half of the incidents are all coming from United? So it's good that they can point fingers at each other, so you can't quite blame anyone, right? But yeah, it's scary stuff, man. I don't do a lot of flying. In fact, I do hardly any at all. But it doesn't make flying seem all that lucrative anymore.
What does this mean? It just means higher airline prices. That's all.
Yep.
Right? You got Southwest and United saying, hey, by the way, we're going to operate less planes. It's going to be higher prices. Speaking of higher, gold's up 14, 21.80. Silver's up 56, 24.75. Patriot Radio News Hour. Jason and I will be right back. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason on this Wednesday. $10 liberties. It's getting real tight here. We've got about 100 $10 liberties, 1 through 19, 1165, 20 or more at 1160. Right now, gold's up 13, 2179. And then 10th ounce, 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagles. Man, these things are just on fire as people they're getting wise to what's coming, right? The crackdown on freedom. We'll talk about that here in just a second. $270 on a 10th ounce gold eagle. Buy 50 or more. $265 at 800-951-0592. And Jason, the House has now passed the TikTok bill where it's going to head to the Senate, where it looks like it already has the votes in the Senate to ban TikTok. Apparently, all you guys out there, and I don't use TikTok. I don't think Jason uses TikTok, but, you do dancing videos or whatever you do. No, it's the Chinese. They're going to hack us. It's got national, government concerns because apparently all of the TikToking going on, Jason, it's okay if we're the ones doing the spying. It's not okay if the Chinese are doing the spying. But, yeah, it passed through the House really easy this morning, on its way to the Senate. And, of course, the president says he's going to sign it.
Well, I do watch TikTok, not because I'm signed up for it, but I do watch YouTube sometimes to get, content for the shows. And so they have the little shorts, that are coming off of TikTok on YouTube. This smells a lot to me, since that's how I get TikTok videos. It smells a lot to, hey, let's get rid of TikTok. It is competition for YouTube. If you ban it, I'll tell you right now, TikTok's still going to show up at YouTube. It's going to empower a very controlled social network platform like YouTube and force TikTok. TikTok is kind of like the Wild West right now. There's a lot more freedom speakers and truth tellers on TikTok videos, which is why it's kind of getting more popular. And if you funnel that into YouTube and then YouTube can censor it, then you've got control of TikTok. I would say they're going to pass this show. I don't think they don't like people speaking a different narrative. And I'm not a huge fan or a proponent or a opponent of TikTok, but I do find I catch myself scanning through those little short videos, watching, the fun little wise little clips, and like you said, the fun videos my wife watches, the cats and all that stuff. Yeah, this sure looks like let's push it into YouTube.
Yeah, what are you gonna do with no cat videos?
It'll be in YouTube, Joe. It'll be like you can't.
Listen, everyone's going to lose their mind without TikTok.
Correct. Alex Jones can't be on YouTube, but if you have Alex Jones on your show, it can be on YouTube. See how that works? This is the same thing. You can't have TikTok, but you can have TikTok going through YouTube. So yeah, this really looks like a corporate play, and is this got both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, both voting on it? I guess so. Anytime they were all. This wasn't along the lines of the Republicans like it, the Democrats don't. But boy. Anytime both sides like it, it means there's something wrong with it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Again, just less free. Like I said, listen, here's the problem, right? It's okay for us to spy, but, this may be – and you know what? TikTok has a huge presence here. All their servers here I think they're in Texas. I mean, they employ a bunch of people. I don't know. Once again, it's the giant boogeyman. We've got to be able to control all the information. And, of course, what are they getting to? Ultimate control. Because they know these are half measures. Until we can control the money, right, we can't have total control, and that's the goal. This is why, why is it everyone's buying 10th-ounce gold eagles? Because you know what? They see the future where the government's going to say, you can't buy that. Right? Hey, you can't buy that much ammo. You can't buy that gun. Whoa, Mr. Smuckatelli, do you realize that you just bought 50 pounds of beef? Well, but I'm having a big block party. I'm having a family reunion. Oh, whoa, boy. You better slow your roll, sir. Right? That's a huge carbon footprint violation. Here comes the tax man, right? Now you can take. I really see this. You can take 10th-ounce gold eagles to the local farmer, local rancher. Hey, give me a half a side, right? Give me half a side. Here's a couple of 10th ounce. I can absolutely see all of these types of things.
That'll happen, Joe, when because I don't think they'll ban buying gold with a digital currency. I don't think they'll do it. They're going to tax it. It's going to be called a fee. It's funny how we say, how much freedom can you afford? That's what it's going to come down to. You're going to have the gold price, and then you're going to have the fee attached to it on top of that. Grant Cardone, you mentioned him a few weeks ago. He was a guest on a show I was watching, and he said the same exact thing. Yeah, well, I just know that I have more freedom, and the more money I have in possession, the more assets I possess, the more freedom I have. So I got to try to earn as much as I can. That's what it's going to be. And you're right. Going and trading gold for goods will happen when that happens. Can you imagine like a 10%? We're not going to outlaw gold, but we're going to tell everyone we don't like it. But you can go ahead and buy it. And when you order from Patriot, 2 years from now, it'll be a 10th-ounce gold piece, which is today's price, $270, and 10%. There's a $27 fee that goes to what? I guess paying this unpayable debt goes right to the government, right? It's not a tax; it's a fee. You shouldn't buy it.
It's a fee. That's right. Right. It's cash. It's a fee. Right. Hey, it's a fee, and as soon as the fee gets to be too much, right? Well, then there you have it, and it really is. When you see things like, how do we go $300 billion in debt in February, right? I mean, of all the months, right? At least do one of those months that had 31 days, right? With the shortest month of the year. But again, doesn't it, right? Every 100 days, there's another $1 trillion. Yep. I mean, that's what it is. And now, look at, not only are they not coming to the auctions, which is already bad enough. The worst 10-year auction of the year happened yesterday. China, for the third day in a row, we're not buying that wheat. We said we were going to buy it. Instead, we're going to use our own currency and buy it from Brazil. Patriot Radio News Hour. Jason and I will be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour. on this Wednesday. This is what you can look forward to. COVID money's gone. Reverse repo just about depleted. Foreigners don't want to buy the debt. Heck, they don't even want to buy our wheat now, right? What's next? Corn, right? Same thing. They want to do business in something other than dollars, buying gold at record levels. And then what about the states? What about the cities? You know, they had a couple of years where they got all this money, covered it all up. And now it's all back, right? California, right? Every month the budget deficit gets worse and worse and worse. Right now it's up to $78 billion and counting. New York, Illinois. How about Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh police said that they are no longer going to respond to non-emergency calls. They say they just simply don't have the manpower. They say they will not, calls that are not deemed in progress emergencies, meaning theft, harassment, criminal mischief, burglar alarms at your businesses will now be ignored. And get ready. This is going to happen all over the country. It's already happening all over the country. We have problems with all the illegal aliens eating up all the money the states had set aside for health care and food stamps and other assistance, housing assistance. Now they say, Florida, get ready to Haiti is a complete collapse. Some gangster named Barbecue, you can't make it up, is now in charge of Haiti. They've warned Florida, get ready. The Haitians are on their way. And Jason, the cities in the states are going the same way that the federal government goes. The problem is the cities in the states, the next budget year, they've got to readjust, right? And spending's going to just start collapsing here. And you got to remember, most states' budgets start on July the 1st. So there's going to be a lot of things happening besides, obviously, March has lived up to its billing. We said the chaos will start in March. It doesn't end in March, does it, Jason?
Those are incredible stories you bring up sometimes. Barbecued Haitians are flooding into Florida. Is that what I just heard?
Well, the criminal element, his name's Barbecue.
If you're leaving Haitian, and because of barbecue, then you're a barbecued Haitian. You're running away to Florida.
You're running away from the bar. I don't want to be barbecued. I'm out of here, right?
I don't want to be barbecued either. I'm out of here.
And then how about this? Well, everyone was talking about the CPI. What's going to happen with the retail sales number? Very quietly, the Federal Reserve released their what they call medium to longer term inflation trends. And they said that the medium term, which is more than 3 years from now, shot up 0.3, which is huge. So now the Fed is saying, 2.7% inflation 3 years from now. So we went from 2.4 to 2.7. How about 5 years? 2.9% inflation from the Fed, up 0.4%. Jason, what happened to 2? What happened? Right? So all of a sudden the Fed, their little private little Fed survey, all of a sudden now saying, 5 years, let's just go we'll call it 2.9, so it'll still have a 2. But essentially now everybody better get ready for things to cost more and a lot more for a lot longer.
You know, and one difference between the inflation we have at this point in history versus the 70s, early 80s, is there's a much more concentrated amount of wealth in fewer hands now than there was, 30, 40 years ago. So the inflation that's happening now, Joe, it might run hot for a long time, because one thing that inflation doesn't affect as much is wealthier people. A person's a person. One person can only eat so much. One person can only consume so much. And so wealthier people put their money in things, and inflation tends to help those things go up in value. And the average person who's working a wage and getting taxed has nothing, and they're having trouble buying the simplest of things. And I don't know if this inflation goes away for a long time, Joe, because stock markets and assets going to record highs in the midst of higher regular inflation. I don't see where it stops. I see more and more wealth going to fewer hands. And how many times have I said, the lords and peasants, we're moving towards a dark ages where you have lords and you have peasants. And man, hopefully you're in an area where you have a benevolent lord, somebody who's decent and nice and giving, because, what is it, Robin Hood, the sheriff of Nottingham? You don't want the sheriff of Nottingham being your lord, right? What if that guy's your lord? I think there's a lot of sheriffs running around out there, Sheriff of Nottingham, that would be glad to collect your taxes while you can't buy enough bread to eat.
800-951-0592. Final segment on this Wednesday. Stay with us if you can take 800-951-0592. Final segment on this Wednesday. $10 gold pieces, 1 through 19. 1165, 20 or more, 1160. 1 10th-ounce American Gold Eagles, 1 through 49, 270. 50 or more, 265. And you have a lot of places out there, they're over $300 on 10th ounce now. One other thing, too, as we watch gold rebounding here today, we get any sort of soft retail sales number, and it looks like, look at Dollar Tree, Macy's, Outback Steakhouse, just to name a few. I think you're going to see another one of those right here. We're going to take a run at the record here, and I'm starting to pay attention here to silver. Silver keeps going here, up 65 right now, 65 cents, $24.85, and again. Then next week we got Fed, right? We're going to look for the slowing of quantitative tightening. How much money is left in the reverse repo? And what about the banks? How are they going to survive if the Fed isn't allowed to cut rates? Jason, so many things up in the air that why we've labeled this the year of chaos. But the one thing that we keep highlighting, all of this very bullish for gold, bullish for silver. Copper today, back over $4. A big move, very quietly on copper as well.
We could see gold at 2,300 before March ends. Joe, it's very likely actually now. It's the way that everything is moving in these markets. Just simply on the just blowing up of these assets. Gold is, here's the thing. When gold goes up, silver follows. A lot of times silver won't just go up all on its own, but when gold starts to move, silver goes. And then when silver goes, I said this on the air yesterday when you weren't here, Joe. I was like, when silver goes, and it was part of the video I played, silver likes to sometimes do a 2x or a 3x gain and starts catching up. This 88-to-1 gold to silver ratio is kind of obscene. And if gold goes to 2,300, silver could be at 28, Joe, 27. It could really move. So we keep saying that this is the best time to buy, and these things are moving. It won't be long before these prices we've had on these gold coins, these silver coins, are just not going to be as low as they are now. It's just going to be a whole new level, Joe.
Yeah, it really is. When we're looking at just the realities on the ground, which is we've printed too much money. We've created these bubbles, the boom and bust cycle here, and we're just seeing it play out. I'm really the news about the wheat. That's not good, right? And the TikTok ban, right? My guess is, why do I have a feeling all of this is going hand in hand with all of this stuff, and we like to weaponize. And Jason, I think the rest of the world is tired of the United States weaponizing and using their dollars against them, and they're just getting. Not only are they seeking alternatives, they're getting alternatives. It's happening.
It's happening. All this stuff is happening. Yeah, 2024. We spent most of 2023 saying, look, this is what's happening. The slow crashing in the markets, which will heat up. And we said 2024 is most likely going to be where things move, and it's going to move and move every year after this for a while. Economically, things are really, really bad. It just hasn't shown it to the average person that doesn't listen to the show.
Patriot Radio News Hour. God bless everybody. Jason and I, we're coming right back with the half-empty cup.